There comes a point in your life where pain stops being something you fear and starts becoming something you understand. Most people run from pain. They distract themselves, they numb it, they hide from it in comfort, entertainment excuses. But what they don't realize is that pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Because pain has a language, and if you're strong enough to listen, it will tell you exactly who you are. When everything is going well, when life is easy, when you're comfortable, you don't grow. You stay the same. You become soft, predictable, average. But the moment pain enters your life, everything changes. Pain strips away illusions. It exposes weakness. It forces you to confront the truth about your habits, your mindset, your discipline. And that truth is uncomfortable. That truth hurts. But that's exactly why it matters. Think about it. Every strong person you've ever admired was forged in difficulty. Nobody becomes powerful by accident. Nobody builds resilience by living an easy life. Strength is built in moments where you feel like breaking. And when all hope is lost, when things fall apart, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, that's when pain becomes your greatest advantage. Because now you're no longer blind. Now, you see clearly what needs to change. Pain forces action. It doesn't negotiate, it doesn't wait, it doesn't care about your excuses. It pushes you relentlessly until you either rise or you stay down and accept defeat. And here's the difference between winners and losers. Winners use pain. They take every failure, every betrayal, every setback, and they turn it into fuel. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because every painful moment carries a lesson. Maybe it's teaching you discipline. Maybe it's showing you that you trusted the wrong people. Maybe it's forcing you to realize that you've been lazy, unfocused, distracted. Whatever it is, the lesson is there, but only if you're willing to face it. The problem is, most people never do. They feel pain, and instead of learning from it, they escape it. They blame others. They blame circumstances. They blame bad luck. And in doing so, they stay exactly where they are stuck, weak and controlled by their emotions. But the moment you take responsibility, the moment you accept that pain is part of the process, everything changes. Because now, pain is no longer something that controls you. It's something that builds you. Understand this clearly. Pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches you can last forever. That heartbreak you went through, that failure that embarrassed you, that moment where everything collapsed, those are the moments that shape you into someone stronger. But only if you choose to grow from them. Because pain gives you two options. It can destroy you, or it can transform you. And the choice is always yours. So when you feel that pressure, when life hits you harder than you expected, when everything seems to be going wrong, don't run. Stand still. Face it. Let it teach you. Let it mold you into someone who cannot be broken. Because the truth is, the more pain you endure and overcome, the more powerful you become. You build a mindset that doesn't crack under pressure. You develop a level of discipline that most people will never understand. You become someone who doesn't fear challenges, but welcomes them, and eventually, something incredible happens. The same pain that once made you feel weak becomes the very thing that makes you unstoppable. At some point in life, you realize a truth that hits harder than any failure, deeper than any disappointment. No one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not society, not luck, not some perfect opportunity. And for most people, that realization feels terrifying. It feels cold. It feels unfair. Because from a young age, you're conditioned to believe that someone will step in, that things will somehow work out, that if you wait long enough, something or someone will fix your situation. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life rewards responsibility, not waiting. And the moment you truly understand that is the moment your life begins to change. Because as long as you believe someone else is coming to rescue you, you stay passive. You hesitate. You delay action, you make excuses, you tolerate situations you should be fixing. You accept a version of life that is far below your potential. But when it finally clicks in your mind that it's all on you, something shifts. The excuses disappear, the waiting stops, and a new mindset takes over, one built on ownership, accountability, and action. Look around. The people who win in life are not the ones who waited for help. They are the ones who decided to help themselves. They didn't have perfect conditions. They didn't have guarantees. They didn't have someone guiding them every step of the way. What they had was a decision to take control of their life, no matter how difficult it was. And that decision is what separates the average from the exceptional, because when you accept that no one is coming, you stop relying on motivation. You stop relying on external validation. You stop looking for approval, permission, or reassurance. You start building something much more powerful: self-reliance. And self-reliance is dangerous because it means you no longer depend on anything outside of yourself to move forward. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need support. You don't need everything to feel right. You act anyway. There will be days when you feel tired, when you feel lost, when nothing seems to be working. There will be moments where you wish someone would step in and guide you, support you, or carry the weight for you. But those moments are tests. They are designed to reveal whether you are truly in control of your life or still waiting for someone else to take responsibility for it. And if you fail those tests, if you fall back into that mindset of waiting, hoping, depending, you lose time. And time is the one thing you never get back. Understand this clearly. Nobody cares about your excuses. The world doesn't pause because you're struggling. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel ready. Life keeps moving with or without you. And that's why this realization is so powerful. Because when you stop expecting help, you start creating results. You become proactive instead of reactive. You stop asking, what if? And start focusing on, what now? And this is where your true power lies. Not in what others can do for you, but in what you can do for yourself. When you fully accept responsibility for your life, you gain control. And with control comes freedom. The freedom to build, to improve, to change your circumstances no matter where you start. Because once you remove the illusion of rescue, you're left with one undeniable truth. If anything is going to change, it has to be you. So you start making different decisions. You wake up earlier. You work harder. You become more disciplined. You stop tolerating weakness in yourself. You hold yourself accountable, even when it's uncomfortable. And slowly, step by step, you begin to rebuild. Not because someone helped you, but because you refuse to stay where you were. And that's what makes this mindset so powerful. It doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger. It forces you to rise above circumstances instead of being controlled by them. It turns you into someone who doesn't wait for opportunities, but creates them. Someone who doesn't rely on others, but becomes reliable, because in the end, the moment you accept that no one is coming to save you is the moment you stop needing to be saved. There are moments in life that feel heavier than anything you've ever experienced. Moments where everything slows down, where the noise fades, and all you're left with is your own thoughts, your doubts, your fears, your regrets. These are the dark moments. The ones people don't talk about. The ones that test you in silence. Because it's easy to be strong when things are going your way. It's easy to smile when you're winning, when you're comfortable, when life feels predictable. But real strength, the kind that cannot be shaken, is built in the darkness. When everything falls apart, when your plans collapse, when the people you trusted are no longer there, when you feel isolated and uncertain, that's when the real test begins. Not a test of your talent, not a test of your intelligence, but a test of your character. Because in those moments, you have no audience. There's no one clapping for you, no one encouraging you. It's just you and the decision you're about to make. Do you give in to the pressure, or do you rise above it? Most people break in the dark. They let their thoughts control them. They let fear take over. They start to believe that this moment defines them, that this pain is permanent, that there's no way out. And slowly they begin to shrink. Their confidence disappears. Their ambition fades. They accept a smaller version of themselves because it feels safer than fighting back. But what they don't realize is that the darkness isn't there to destroy them, it's there to reveal them. Because when you're in a dark place, everything fake disappears. There's no pretending, there's no hiding. You see yourself exactly as you are. Your weaknesses become clear, your habits become obvious, your mindset is exposed. And while that can be uncomfortable, even painful, it's also incredibly powerful, because now you know the truth. And once you know the truth, you can start to change it. Strong men are not born in comfort. They are created through struggle, through pressure, through moments where quitting feels easier than continuing. Every time you face a dark moment and choose to keep going, you build something inside yourself that cannot be taught: resilience. And resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. It's not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. No matter how many times life hits you, understand this: the darkness is not permanent, but the strength you build in it can last forever. Every difficult moment you survive becomes proof that you can handle more than you thought. Every challenge you overcome increases your confidence, not the kind that comes from words or validation, but the kind that comes from experience. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that no matter what happens, you'll find a way through it, and that belief is powerful. Because once you develop it, you stop fearing hard times. You stop avoiding challenges. You stop running from discomfort. Instead, you face it head on, knowing that every dark moment is an opportunity to grow stronger. You begin to understand that the pain you're feeling is not punishment, it's preparation. Preparation for a version of yourself that is more disciplined, more focused, more capable than ever before. There's a reason why people who have been through the most struggle often come out the strongest. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's because they were forced to adapt. They were forced to grow. They didn't have the option to stay the same. And in that process, they developed a mindset that refuses to break under pressure. A mindset that doesn't crumble when things get difficult. A mindset that keeps moving forward no matter what. So when you find yourself in those dark moments, when you feel alone, when you feel like everything is working against you, remember, this is where strength is built. This is where you separate yourself from the average. This is where you prove to yourself what you're truly capable of. Not by avoiding the darkness, but by walking through it and coming out stronger on the other side. Because at the end of the day, it's not the easy moments that define you, it's the ones that tried to break you and failed. Most people live their entire lives controlled by how they feel. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they rest. If they feel inspired, they take action. And if they don't feel like doing something, they don't do it. That's the reality for the majority. Their emotions dictate their actions, and their actions dictate their results. And because emotions are unstable, inconsistent, and unpredictable, their results are exactly the same. Up one day, down the next. Focused for a moment, distracted the next. Progress starts, then stops. Over and over again. But the people who actually win in life operate differently. They don't rely on emotions. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't need motivation to get started. They build discipline. And discipline is what separates those who dream from those who execute. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, stressed, or unmotivated. It doesn't ask for comfort. It demands action. Think about it. If you only worked when you felt good, how much would you actually accomplish? If you only showed up when everything felt perfect, how many opportunities would you miss? The truth is, the most important moments in your life will come when you don't feel like doing anything, when you're exhausted, when your mind is full of doubt, when quitting feels easier than continuing. And in those moments, your emotions will try to convince you to stop. They will give you reasons, excuses, justifications. They will make it sound logical to take a break, to delay, to wait for a better time. And that's exactly where discipline takes over. Discipline is the voice that tells you to keep going when everything inside you is telling you to quit. It's the ability to act in spite of how you feel. It's showing up when no one is watching. It's doing the work when there is no immediate reward. It's staying consistent when progress feels slow and invisible. And that's why so few people truly master it. Because discipline is hard. It requires sacrifice. It requires control. It requires you to go against your natural instincts. Your mind is designed to seek comfort. It wants to avoid pain, avoid effort, avoid anything that feels difficult. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. Progress doesn't happen when everything is easy. Progress happens when you push beyond that instinct, when you choose effort over ease, when you choose long-term success over short-term satisfaction. And that choice has to be made again and again, every single day. The problem is, people wait for motivation to make that choice for them. They watch videos, they listen to speeches, they look for something that will give them that temporary boost. And for a moment, it works. They feel energized, excited, ready to take on the world. But that feeling fades. It always fades. And when it does, they're right back where they started. Because motivation is temporary. But discipline is permanent. When you build discipline, you remove the need for motivation entirely. You create a system, a routine, a standard that you follow no matter what. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't debate whether you should take action. You just do it. Because it's who you are. It becomes part of your identity. And once that happens, everything changes. You become consistent. And consistency is what produces real results. Not intensity, not bursts of effort, not moments of inspiration, but steady, repeated action over time. You start to build momentum. You start to see progress. And that progress reinforces your discipline even more. It becomes a cycle, a powerful loop that pushes you forward. Regardless of how you feel on any given day, there will be days when you wake up and you don't want to do anything. Days when your energy is low, your focus is weak, your emotions are pulling you in every direction. But those are the days that matter the most, because those are the days where discipline is tested. Anyone can perform when they feel good. Anyone can work when they're motivated. But not everyone can show up when they feel nothing, and that's the difference, because when you master discipline, you become reliable, not just to others, but to yourself. You trust that you will do what needs to be done no matter what. You eliminate hesitation. You remove excuses. You take control of your actions instead of letting your emotions control you. And over time, that control turns into power. The power to shape your life, to build your future, to create results that most people only talk about. Because while others are waiting to feel ready, you're already moving. While others are controlled by their emotions, you're controlled by your standards, and that's why discipline will always win. Not because it's easy, but because it works. There is a moment that very few people are prepared for, the moment when everything you built, everything you believed in, everything you depended on is gone. Not weakened, not shaken, gone. And in that moment, it feels like the end. It feels like there's nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to guide you, nothing left to prove that you can come back from it. Most people see that moment as destruction. They see it as failure, as loss, as something to fear and avoid at all costs. But what they don't understand is that this moment, this exact moment, is where real power begins. Because when you lose everything, you're left with one thing that most people never experience: a clean slate. No expectations, no pressure to maintain an image, no fear of losing what you no longer have. And in that space, something rare happens. You get the opportunity to rebuild yourself from the ground up, not as the person you were, but as the person you choose to become. The problem is, rebuilding is hard. It's slow, it's uncomfortable. It requires patience, discipline, and a level of mental strength that most people never develop. Because when you start from nothing, there are no shortcuts. There is no instant success. There is no recognition in the beginning. It's just you putting in effort day after day with no guarantee of results. And that's where most people give up. They look at how far they have to go, they compare it to where they used to be, and they feel overwhelmed. They let frustration take over. They lose focus. They fall back into old habits because it feels easier than starting over. But the people who succeed, the ones who truly rebuild, they think differently. They don't focus on what they lost. They focus on what they can create. They don't waste energy wishing things were different. They accept reality for what it is, and they move forward with intention. Because they understand something powerful: starting from nothing is not a disadvantage. It's an advantage. When you have nothing to protect. You can take risks. You can make bold decisions. You can push yourself without fear, because there's nothing left to lose. And that freedom allows you to grow faster, to adapt quicker, to become stronger in ways that comfort could never allow. You begin to build a version of yourself that is not dependent on circumstances, not reliant on external validation, not fragile in the face of difficulty. Rebuilding yourself is not just about external success. It's not just about money, status, or achievements. It's about internal transformation. It's about becoming someone who can handle pressure, who can stay focused, who can remain disciplined even when things are uncertain. It's about developing a mindset that doesn't break when life gets hard, but instead becomes sharper, more determined, more relentless. And this process, it changes you. Because every step forward, no matter how small, becomes proof that you are capable. Every challenge you overcome reinforces your belief in yourself. Every setback you push through builds resilience. And over time, you start to see something incredible. You are no longer the person who lost everything. You are someone new, someone stronger, someone more dangerous, but it does not happen overnight. There will be moments where you doubt yourself, moments where progress feels too slow, moments where you question whether it's worth it. And in those moments, it's easy to fall back into negativity, to focus on what's missing, to feel like you're not moving fast enough. But that's part of the process. Because rebuilding is not about speed, it's about consistency. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, even when no one notices. It's about staying committed, even when the results aren't immediate. Because those small actions, repeated over time, create something powerful. They build momentum. And once momentum starts, everything begins to accelerate. You begin to regain control. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You begin to operate with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you've proven to yourself that you can handle imperfection, that you can survive setbacks, that you can build even when starting from nothing, and eventually you reach a point where you look back and you realize that losing everything was not the end. It was the beginning of a version of yourself that is stronger, smarter, and more capable than ever before. A version that does not rely on luck, does not depend on others, does not crumble under pressure, because when you rebuild yourself from nothing, you don't just recover, you reinvent who you are. So now you understand when all hope is lost, it's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your transformation. Every moment of pain you felt was shaping you. Every time you realized no one was coming to save you, you were being pushed toward taking control. Every dark moment that tried to break you was actually building a version of you that refuses to stay down. Every time you chose discipline over emotion, you were separating yourself from the average. And every step you took to rebuild yourself from nothing was proof that you are far stronger than you ever believed. Most people will never reach this point because they spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They run from pain, they depend on others, they let their emotions control them, and when life gets hard, they stop. But you didn't stop. You stayed. You listened. And now you see the truth that everything you went through had a purpose, because the version of you that exists after struggle is not the same person who entered it. You think differently. You act differently. You carry a level of focus, resilience, and control that most people will never understand. You are no longer afraid of losing because you've already experienced loss and survived it. You are no longer afraid of starting over because you've already done it once. And that makes you dangerous. This is where your power comes from. Not from comfort, not from easy wins, but from the moments that tested you and forced you to evolve. And now you have a choice. You can take everything you've learned and go back to a life of excuses, fear, and hesitation, or you can move forward with a mindset that refuses to break, refuses to settle, refuses to be average, because at the end of the day, when all hope is lost, that's when the real ones are revealed. That's when you either disappear or you rise into someone the world cannot ignore.